Forget soda. This fermented drink is fizzy, refreshing, and way healthier. And if you love the feeling that you get when you drink soda, then you will love what we are going to do today. With just a little fruit, you can turn this plain kombucha into something that looks like a craft mocktail but still has all the probiotic goodness. Today, I'll show you how to make second fermentation of kombucha using orange and pomegranate. And it's so easy that you will only ever drink kombucha like this. So before we dive deeper into flavoring, let's clear up a question that many people have. What exactly is second fermentation and how is it different from the first? So first fermentation is where you create plain kombucha. You start with sweet tea, add the SCOBY and starter liquid. I have explained what SCOBY and starter liquid is in my other video, so you can check that out. And you have to let this kombucha in the first ferment sit for around 7 to 14 days. The yeast and the bacteria in the SCOBY, they will do all the heavy lifting. Yeast eat the sugar and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. And the bacteria then converts that alcohol into organic acids. And you get your tangy, slightly fizzy, but the bottle is open to the air when you're doing your first fermentation. So most of that fizz escapes. But sometimes we all want some fun, and then somebody discovered second fermentation, which happens after you remove the SCOBY and pour the kombucha into bottles. This time you seal the bottles airtight and add fruit juices, herbs or spices or even nothing. The extra sugar from fruit gives the yeast more food, and since the bottle is closed, the carbon dioxide has nowhere to escape. It dissolves into the liquid, and that's what creates this natural carbonation, the fizz we all love. So the first fermentation makes kombucha safe, tangy and full of probiotics, and the second fermentation is what makes it fun, flavorful and bubbly, and also very colorful. In this video, I'll be showing two simple flavors for your second fermentation, orange and pomegranate. I chose these because they're easy to find, they're universally available, even on the International Space Station, I think. So let's get started with the orange one first, and the process is pretty much similar for every other juice. To start, I'm adding half a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice into a 500 milliliters of swing top bottle, and this is already a lot. I like this fizz that I'm getting here, but if you want less carbonation, then you can add around just a quarter cup of it to 500 ml of kombucha. Now pour your plain kombucha over it. You can use a sieve so that no SCOBY bits sneak into the bottle, and you have to remember to leave a couple of inches of space at the top of the bottle because of the carbonation. Then all you have to do is seal the bottle tight and leave it at room temperature for 1 day or around 24 hours. Now second fermentation can take between 1 and 3 days, and that depends a lot on how warm it is. So that's our orange kombucha, bright, zesty, and it totally complements your beachwear. And if you are one of those people who loves making crazy cocktails, you might actually like this. Although that's where the health benefits of kombucha kind of come into question. But of course, you also don't have to stop with just one flavor here. Let's try another fruit that gives kombucha this deep, rich red color and a totally different taste. Pomegranate, one of my most favorite fruits. So I'm going to do the same thing here with pomegranate juice, and I will add around half a cup of juice to this bottle. Now a word about the juices that I'm using here. They're all fresh juices. They're not from this Tetra packs from the store, and they don't have any added sugar or preservatives in them. That's something that you must remember when you're doing second ferments with fruit juices. There is also a lot of pulp in the fruit juices that I'm using, and this adds a lot of texture, this thickness to the second ferments. Now add kombucha on the top, and remember to leave the space for carbonation. Seal the bottle and let it sit for a day or two at room temperature. Now, if it's really warm, it will be ready in a day. But the longer you wait, the fizzier it will get. But don't forget, too much pressure can also make it very tricky to open this bottle later. And you might lose most of the drink when it all just oozes out of it. Meanwhile, once you've emptied this main kombucha bottle, don't forget your SCOBY. Put it back into the brewing jar with some starter liquid and fresh sweet tea. And just like that, your next batch is already on the way. You can even experiment with herbal teas like hibiscus, rose, lemon verbena. And these can be a first ferment or even second ferment. And how long will this ferment last? Well, at room temperature, if you leave your bottles on the counter, they're 1 to 3 days to build a fizz. Then you have to refrigerate it and it will last for about a week. Do you have to burp the bottle? Well, burping is essentially you open the lid so that some pressure is released. So if your kitchen is warm, then burping it once a day is a good idea. And this will release the pressure and it will avoid this bottle explosions. That will be quite a mess to clean. So when I was doing these ferments, it was 35 plus outside, very warm in the middle of summer, and I had to burp the bottle once a day. On the second day, I just moved it inside the refrigerator. In the current room temperatures that we have here, probably around 22 degrees, this might take around 2 days to get the fizz that I like. But remember, the burping sound of the bottle, not yours, might be enjoyable, but don't overdo it. One quick release is enough, otherwise, you lose all that fizz that you're trying to build inside the bottle. And also, don't shake the bottle. This is not the kind of champagne that you spill on people. So, this is now the bottles after one day on the counter and the second day in the refrigerator. When I was taking the bottles out of the fridge, there was a lot of movement happening inside. So, I have let it rest for around 10 to 15 minutes before trying to open it. And now, the moment of truth.
One, two, and three. Wow.
I think it's perfect amount of carbonation. We don't have any overspills here and the bubbles just look gorgeous. And now let me zoom in a little bit for you and you can see all those bubbles dance inside. The juices that I had used had some pulp, especially the pomegranate one. So when you pour it in a glass, you might want to use a sieve or just pour it slowly and carefully. And now let's open the second bottle, the one with the orange flavor.
Wow.
That satisfying pop sound, that's real, no sound effects here. There's a lot of action going on here and a lot of gas that's trapped, which is trying to escape right through the bottle. I think I'm definitely going to experiment with a few more flavors. If you have some that you have tried and that has come out nicely, then let me know in the comments. Now, time for some common questions that I certainly had when I was learning how to brew. Does a SCOBY form during second fermentation? Yes. Sometimes a thin SCOBY layer will form on top of the bottled kombucha and it's totally harmless. It's not there to hurt you. Just strain it out or pick it out. And if you are into gross texture kind of things, then just eat it. And here's what my main kombucha customer had to say about SCOBY.
And this is Scoby, right? Does it look nice? No, gross. It looks gross?
Now, what fruits, spices, or herbs can I use? Well, you can use citrus, berries, mangoes, ginger, hibiscus, mint, cinnamon, and the list goes on. Just avoid using essential oils. And of course, that question, what bottles are the best? Well, use strong swing top bottles. They're designed to handle carbonation safely. It's also much easier to open. And remember, you must avoid this thin glass or reuse plastic bottles. They can burst under pressure. And one advice from my personal experience that I can give is don't look down upon the bottle, straight into the lid when you're trying to open it. It can fly so fast straight into your eye, so it can be very dangerous. And the thing that worries most people when it comes to brewing kombucha, first time when you're doing this, it's quite intimidating because you're afraid of contamination. What do you need to watch out for? And mold is the only real danger here. But if you maintain basic hygiene, you will never see the mold at all. If you see fuzzy green, black, or blue spots, then toss the whole thing and start again. Don't give up. And if it has a very strong vinegar smell, then it means that it's over fermented. I usually make second fermentation only on demand from my customer at home. Since it takes anything between 1 to 3 days to make, I plan ahead and you can experiment with different fruits and look like the coolest person with the coolest looking drink ever. Something that you can totally give to your friends during festivities or bring to a party for everyone to enjoy. You just don't give your well wishes, you actually give something that will bring some joy and some goodness to their gut. Maybe alcohol free parties should start becoming a thing now. When you're plus 40, strange things creep into your mind. So that's second fermentation. And if you want to learn how to do first fermentation, watch my other video. And when you're confident, try out your favorite fruits, herbs, or spices. Let it fizz and enjoy refreshing, colorful drink. That's all yours and perfectly healthy. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your favorite flavor ideas in the comments. I might feature them in one of my next videos. Cheers to this homemade kombucha and see you soon.